You know what I forgot to do?
Forgot to announce it like you always do.
Yeah, I did. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started while I announce it. So, hey guys, welcome to another Complete Developer Live. It has been a while, and it's been a while, so I forgot to announce it in our Slack. So give me just a second. Will, why don't you tell the folks at home what's been going on with you?
Well, I've kind of had a rough few weeks. You know, one of our college buddies passed on suddenly, and that hit me a lot harder than I thought it would. I mean, you know, it's going to hit you hard anyway, but it just there's a lot more residual on this one, and so that happened. Then we had 2 days of work in which I was scrambling around trying to get ready before Music City Tech and make sure everything was where it needed to be, and then we had Music City Tech, which was quite a lot of days. It was 3 days, long days, standing up to talk to people, and I kind of have this introvert hangover thing going right now. Like, I've turned into a cranky old man and don't want to talk to people at all.
That is so what's going on with you right now.
Yeah, and my wife and my daughter are out of town right now. They're on vacation, so I'm actually in a house by myself.
So you're able to get over the introvert hangout, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Hangout, hangover.
It's an introvert hangout too.
Yeah. Well, that's true.
I've already watched the 3 Hobbit movies over the weekend, the extended edition. So yeah, that's basically all. I guess, and you got stuff to talk about with Music City Tech.
Oh well, actually, I got sick after Music City Tech. We did not record that Monday. I didn't go to work that Monday, and I work from home. That's how bad it was. I went to the doctor, and then I went home and went to bed.
Yep.
I got sick. It started Sunday and went straight on through Monday. I got up Tuesday and worked a little bit. Went into the office Wednesday and barely, walking from the bus stop to the door winded me. That's how bad off I was. I haven't been to the gym since. It's been rough. Though, in good news, we got our scores back from our talks, and I got a perfect 5.0 score on my talk. That was awesome. So to those of you that came out and listened to it and gave me some feedback or talked to me afterwards, stuff like that, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. That's awesome. Speaking of MCT Talks, the podcast panel that we did didn't get a 5.0. We had some technical difficulties, I think.
A lot.
Yeah, right at the beginning. And speaking of those, unfortunately, guys, we did not get the audio from that. So they had some issues with the recording on it, and it didn't really get much of it. So we're gonna have to re-record that. We're talking with the guys that came on the panel with us. They're really great and have been working with us trying to set up a time to re-record it. So we're gonna work on that and get that taken care of as soon as we possibly can.
All right, so we got a quick listener question. It says, is it better to duplicate Really, the English thing is apparently tricky today. Is it better to duplicate data stored in the database or make 2 calls to the database to retrieve all the information? Okay, so there's several things going on here. One, it doesn't say what kind of database.
Oracle.
Okay, it's Oracle. Let's say if it's Oracle, I know in SQL Server, you can make a single call that returns multiple result sets. So you can get the parent table and then get the child table.
So these are not parent-child relationships. Okay. This is...
Well, you get multiple sets, and then you deal with it on the client side coming back.
I asked the question.
Yeah.
I listen to our shows when I edit, so that makes me a listener, right?
Right. Works for me. I was wondering where that one came from.
No. So here's the full question. So we have this one section over here that is it relates to this other thing, but not directly. It's all right, you have this other thing, you have this registration, and over here are things that are associated with it, but not directly.
If it were direct, would it be one-to-many, or would it be many-to-many, or?
It would be one-to-many.
Okay. I would probably just still return 2 result sets if you can. I'm assuming you can do that in Oracle. and you just kind of call it in a batch. And so what happens on the other side is you read the first set into something, and then you get done with that, and then you read the second set. And then you take those two data sets and you project it into your object model.
Okay. Because, like, there are certain things in the one, like, this is, like, the main thing, and then over here it's just got, oh, hey, we need to look this up so we can...
Yeah. And, of course, I guess the other thing, too, is your ORM probably, if you could define a relationship, even if it's not really the database relationship, you can kind of spoof one in the model. You might be able to just get it to deep load it and go on with life.
Well, see, they're not deep. They're two separate things. It's just they have a loose relationship.
Okay, so is a loose relationship on a key of some sort? One of them's key or the other one's?
Yes.
Okay, so you could set up a relationship and tell it, hey, I want to get this stuff too.
Oh, I didn't think about doing it. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Make
now.
it in Hibernate
Okay.
do the work. Because like I was saying with the multiple result sets, like you can do that in like straight ADO and read it into something and then do the same thing with the other one. And then you take those two models and project it. And that's what it's doing under the hood anyway. But this might be a better, safer way to do it if you can rig the relationship accordingly.
Okay.
Now, sometimes you'll get weird relationships in there that are really hard to rig, like anything that's self-referential and recursive, like it's a tree structure. I've got some party tricks for that too, but
All right, we can talk more about that.
yeah,
That's just like I asked him that question today, and he's like, "Hey, I'm busy." And I'm like, "All right, well, I'll save it for this evening."
yeah,
Because we weren't sure we were going to do any questions, just because we're both kind of recovering from Music City Tech. So
among other things,
yeah, and there's been a lot going on the last couple weeks with the conference and getting sick and up and down, good and bad things going on. So it's been kind of draining, and then we haven't done like the reason we didn't record before Music City Tech was because we were at the funeral.
yeah. And we got back, and it was, as we were coming back, we realized it's like we just do not have that in us right now.
Well, we got back around 5.
That was the other thing.
Yeah, it was like we would have gotten back and then had to go straight into it, and it was just we were worn out from driving an hour and a half one way to go to it and stuff. So we're like, all right, we're gonna hold off, and then I thought about doing some stuff at Music City Tech, some live stuff that would be cool, but there was so much other stuff going on with us and Junior Developer Toolbox, both talking to people and doing those recordings and stuff, which their episode has already come out on it. So that's really cool. You can go listen to that now at juniordevelopertoolbox.com or on any of the podcast things that we're on as well. And just listen to them talk to people at the conference. They even got to talk to Gaines.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I thought that was really great.
I hardly saw him. I mean, I know he was everywhere, but like you never he was like Bigfoot, like I thought I saw him. Is that Gaines? Because he was like, he was having to manage all this stuff, and so he was just bouncing all over the place.
He didn't come upstairs very often.
Yeah.
I saw him a lot when I was down in the speaker area because it was right beside the volunteer area, so he's in and out of there all the time.
Yeah. I mean, he was doing what he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Which wasn't hanging out with me. So, yeah.
So, anyways.
I bet he's tired.
Oh,
Holy cow.
man. I couldn't imagine. That's like, even when it was one day, I'm sure he was tired. But now it's 3 days and 3 conferences.
Yeah.
All right. So, if you guys have any questions, leave them for us in the comments. We typically go through those before that. Oh, hey, we do have a comment. Brandon Moore. Hi, guys. Love the new series on journaling. I was curious, do you guys prefer digital journaling or pen and paper journaling? Any apps that you recommend? That is a wonderful question, Brandon. Mainly because we have different answers depending on your situation.
Yeah. So I use VS Code for it. I used to use a pen and paper, but I found a few things wrong with that I didn't like. One is that other people can get into it a lot easier. So you can't always be completely honest in there because, of that. And the other thing is, with, being able to Dropbox sync, that made it really really simple. And final thing, I guess, is that I can never find a pencil when I need one. Because, you know, you got other people living in the house, especially one that likes to take all the printer paper and draw on it. You don't have any pencils when you're looking for one.
I didn't know your wife liked to do that.
No, it's not her.
No. I prefer the pen and paper. I've journaled with a pen and paper for a long time. I like the visceral feel of it, and it helps me remember things better. But there are other things that I do online that Will does by hand. So my exercise and dieting, I do online with an app called Spark People. There's a lot of different apps out there. I got into that because my ex-wife got me into it, and I'm like, I already have a profile here. I don't want to set up a whole new one.
Yeah, and see, I've just got a notebook that's, you know, lists what I lifted and when.
Yeah.
And that's basically it. Like, if somebody wants to really dig through that information, knock yourself out, you probably will actually go to sleep. No.
So there's that. For tracking things, he uses Noseby. So do I. No real other.
I used to use Evernote, and then they started jacking up the price, and they started screwing up a lot. I've looked at Nimbus Note. I've also looked at OneNote. I haven't made a decision on that yet. I actually need to do that pretty soon.
Yeah. So since you mentioned it, the most recent episode we had was the health benefits of journaling, which starts a series, sort of a loose series on journaling. There's a myriad of benefits to keeping up with your thoughts, ideas, and emotions. Journaling or keeping a diary improves your health, both mentally and physically, and it can provide an outlet for you that no one else will see. Journaling allows you to express your thoughts, emotions, and concerns in a safe and friendly manner. In the episode, we look into some of the benefits that we get from keeping a journal.
And the episode coming out this week is CSS code smells. Many of us use CSS as part of our jobs, but there's a huge difference between writing CSS that makes a site look good and CSS that's actually maintainable. There's a lot of slimy hacks that everybody used to have to do up until probably 4 or 5 years ago, and a lot of the sites that you're working on, those hacks are still there. A lot of the developers that wrote those hacks are still there writing more of them. Not personal experience in that regard at all. So as a result, many developers and development shops have to deal with really, really bad, no good, unmaintainable CSS. In this episode, we talk through some of the signs that indicate that your code base, your CSS code base, is starting to go bad or has been bad for a while, along with some approaches to fixing it. So it should be a really good episode.
It is.
And we could not hit all the CSS code smells in a single episode if we had to.
And we made a few references back to the episode where we had Amy Knight on as well. So that was
and we did not make any references to current or former employers, friends, countrymen that have bad CSS, because that would be gouge.
We didn't do that. All right, we're going to hop off here. We've got a really awesome interview that we're going to do
in 8 minutes.
Yeah, so we got to get on to that. We'll talk to you guys later.